go. She's gonna go down. Woxic with the AW
position. Earthshaker's moving as well. Echo Slam connects on it too. Back row tire down as well.
Always wins the brawl. Or can we cast the curse in? Oh, there we go.
LOOT.BET.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.
Hello folks and welcome back to more LOOT.BET action. We're here of course with LOOT.BET Season 6. 20 teams battling out for their share of over $50,000 and it all starts of course in the Swiss stage. Today, more quality Counter-Strike on the table. It's Espada versus Hard Legion. I'm joined by the ever so wonderful Egghead himself on the Easter weekend. It's Tombiz.
Yeah, I've done my own painting today. I don't need to buy any eggs to do it with. I just use my head. That's actually what I do now. That is my Easter tradition and definitely not a lie. But yeah, we're going into another CIS brawl. The one yesterday was both exciting and traumatizing. So I'm hoping that this one will be more of the former. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing a bit more of these two teams. I've seen a little bit from Hard Legion in the past, but Espada's someone who not really seen too much of a tool, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they actually have to offer.
Yeah, definitely curious to see how this pans out. Obviously, on paper, this should be a quick 2-0 for them. Well, quick probably maybe a bit of an overestimation, but a 2-0 nonetheless. They have played relatively recently. Of course, it was back in January, but that was a 2-0 then, but it did take them to overtime in that first map.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to seeing a bit from well, I was going to say from... Oh, yeah, from Dexter. I was blind for a second. Because his stats on HLTV are ridiculous. Like, 1.26 rating. I was looking at some of the matches. He's got, like, plus 20 versus teams like Trick. So, yeah, I'm hoping he's going to give us a show. And Dima as well, pretty good. We've seen him and Sotvic play previously in Team Spirit. So, they've got a decent amount of, like, a mix of experience and young talent. Of course, Dexter is only 18 years old, which... considering those statistics, it's pretty nuts. Of course, you do get people nowadays where you got the likes of Frozen, Brolin, who are all around that age, and obviously the likes of Zywoo. So he's got a long way to go, but as we've seen recently, like players can just be picked up out of the blue, like facing off or maybe going into Na'Vi even, if you're lucky, get the right timing on it, or especially in teams like this at the moment where they don't necessarily have those big buyouts, which some of the Fours players or some of the like VP players have. So, yeah, there's definitely going to be opportunities for some of these players further down, and especially someone as young as him. He may even get picked up eventually as some sort of prodigy if he can keep this going. Of course, I'm going to wait until I've actually seen him play, because I can be honest and say I haven't. I've only just looked at the stats, and they seem to be ridiculously high, but even still, it's definitely a good sign if he's able to wreck some of the CIS teams online.
That's just it, though. It's a good sign. I think the thing to keep in mind when we look at stats, it's always the quality of the competition that really make or break with those stats. Makes sense, to be honest. Of course, looking at the stats on our screen right now, you can see that our first map, Inferno, is pretty dicey here for Hard Legion. A 36% win rate, Tom. That's, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, I will be honest and say, though, that like half the time the percentages we see for maps are just a lot of rubbish, because they obviously opponents vary quite heavily when it comes to online play. Like, say you play through a qualifier, you could end up against one of the top European teams just trying to qualify for the same event. Or you could be playing like ESCA, and you also get some very strong teams in there, like, well, Gamer Legion and stuff like that will be playing through the tournament. Or you go all the way down and you've got like other like smaller tournaments which have a few thousand or local stuff. So yeah, it can really vary. Nice start, of course, for Espada. We're going to be kicking things off with an opening pick, some aggression in towards mid, and now they can pretty much sit back, just play patiently. You can see they've got a fairly loose hold of the B site, as they're just basically be looking to play more of a retake on that side of the map. But now starting to gamble more players over, you can see they slowly almost shift their positions. One more player going to be dedicated in, the remaining two watching over for the cross. And the T's, they've got a smoke, so they will be able to section off one of these players. Unfortunately, without the second being available over onto the coffins, this is going to be quite a hard take.
Yeah, it'll just be the CT smoke, so both players' backside will be able to freely shoot. The CT smoke, it's not even come down, so where has it gone? The whole thing is just a bit of a disaster at this point. The Jules will come through for Hard Legion, but still struggling to gain any sort of map control here. Just stuck in Banana. They do have coffins, but they certainly don't have the sight. There's the CT smoke finally. Now going to be going for a bit of a quirky wraparound play, and somehow it's worked.
Yeah, if your players just pop off like that, then I guess sometimes you can steal rounds away that it shouldn't have really worked. I understand maybe the idea of like trying to kill off a player on the cross, maybe not expecting there to be this much of a crossfire. I feel like Espada threw that round away though. If you have two players in the back of sight and one player in CT and they don't smoke it, how are you only getting one kill? Like, you have a three-man crossfire on players running through. You need to hit your shots. That's all it really comes down to. And because of that, Hard Legion are going to take themselves the pistol. They're going to come back in with a fair few rifles alongside an SMG. Has Rage just got a pistol? Or can I just not see the gun? Because
he's just got a pistol. Pistol you too.
This is something that Little used to do. And there is nothing I hate more than seeing someone do this. Like, it can work, and it can be, like, a good way to save money. But say you invest into an SMG, you're not really making that much of a loss anyway to warrant this sort of play. And a lot of the time, the CT side are going to force this second round. So you're basically on a level playing field now with some of the players who already have these upgraded pistols. So never been a fan of this. Don't know why you wouldn't just either buy a MAC-10 or get a teammate to drop you one and just have two in play. Like, it just seems like a risk that's really not necessary.
Let's see if it pays off. Already it will be quick 1-for-1 trades as Dexter gets away with a fair bit here up on balcony, but finally will be taken down, traded from that flower pot position. And that will leave the B side once again wrapped up by the T side. Imagine we're going to see a bit of a retake attempt here from Espada as they do get themselves into position. Starting to see them have second thoughts, though, especially with Crab making a whole lot of noise from behind.
Yeah, the flank basically ended this. Crad, strong spot. Finnegan might be able to take him down, but I think he's making a fair amount of noise. It'll eventually be a kill, but this has worked quite well for Hard Legion. I'm interested to see if Espada can maybe drop one more of these guns. Like, Finnegan does have a D. I don't really know why they're trying to hunt him down. Like, the gun that was lost was an SMG. Finnegan hasn't been able to retrieve it, and you're risking an AK. I just don't understand. That was so close to a player going down. First to surviving with just 2 HP. Very, very lucky to get away with that. And I feel like that's what this round was in a nutshell. Like, they took some big risks, didn't need to, but they got away with it. So I suppose you could just say, well, whatever, let's move on.
At the end of the day, it's all worked out. Should really be 3-0 here as well now, as Espada have just these pistols in play, nothing more, and they're not even upgraded. It's just USPs galore from chasing down through mid. Get one for their troubles, but that will be all. Patsy will sneak in for a cheeky second, but still nothing really worth shouting about. Espada quickly dismantled, as it will be the third round in play here for our T side, who now have some real competition going into this one. They will, of course, have the full buy, but so will Espada as well. Warp up on Dexter. Time to shine.
Yeah, this is where, well, basically I want to see what this young gunner's got. Primary AWP for the side, and looking like they're going to send some early aggro over onto the B site. Quite common. A lot of these rounds, and he is going to get that opening pick as well. Takes some damage in return. Only just gets away with his life, but definitely worth the risk. And in fact, there's another kill coming up for the CT side as well. Very good start to this round. Forrester is also someone where statistically he seems like somebody worth watching. He's going to be making his way forward, but gets domed by Patsy and will leave us in a 2 versus 5. Very strong start to this CT side for Espada in the rifle rounds. Of course, they haven't really had to do too much. It's just been individual jewels handed to them. And sure, the aggression on Banana was more them taking the initiative, but over on this side of the map, they've just been able to find individual picks. T's not really using any utility either, so this round should be very easy for them. And they've actually doubled up in the pit, which I quite like. It's a bit unorthodox. It basically means if Patsy goes down, they're never going to expect the second person to be in exactly the same spot. And Patsy might not even go down. He's just going to do it all on his own. So great work from Espada. A perfect CT round.
That was a nice
little shot from Dexter.
The fact that he's able to walk away from that as well is huge, though, because usually what you see there is the AWP gets the pick when it's very aggressive like that and you're touching the right wall. You get the frag, but then you're immediately traded by the T side, especially when you've got a player set up for that refrag, but he completely whiffs and allows him just to run on back to B side.
Wow. Luckily for the T's, the last few rounds have did relatively well, so they are going to buy back into this one. Rage will have his AWP. So we have the 2 newer boys on the block. Of course, I believe, according to Liquipedia at least, he is still on trial with the team, and that is one hell of a shot. It's a risk to jump like that for Sotvic. I feel like someone with his experience should be making those sort of mistakes, and, well, even that trade was so impactful for Forster. He's managed to get himself a kill. Patsy is incredibly low, and it leaves this man, Dima, at the back of the site. One of the longest standing members within the CIS roster, already managing to get 2 kills. Not quite able to get the 3rd, but he has set them up nicely to have a chance in this retake.
Finnegan in position. We'll begin to start clearing out first and second oranges. His major problem is going to be not only the player backside, but also his opposition just on the other side of Coffins. Also not really on his side as Crad just takes the free peek against him. Patsy, realizing no way in hell he's going to get this one done, just looks for the immediate save, but Rage shouldn't be letting this one happen. We'll just hold the CT cross, and from there it becomes a hard Legion round, which actually means this has worked out rather nicely for them, Tom, to be honest. They found, obviously, themselves losing one to Espada, but immediately winning the buyback is going to do wonders for their economy on their T side, and really not so much for the CT side.
Yeah, it's going to leave them in a bit of trouble. I think the CTs keeping it completely clean means that they will actually be able to get a buy. So they have their lifeline, but this is where they actually need to step up. They can't continue to make these sort of mistakes. It's seeming like they really want to get aggressive into mid in the early portions of the round. I would say I'd like to see them be a bit more passive, just because I feel like one of the things that's normally missing from a lot of the, I would say, lower tier CIS rosters is having the executions in their back pocket. Like they normally have fantastic entry fraggers, individual skill is off the charts, but when it comes to like the pure executions, there's a reason why there's only 1 or 2 good in-game leaders within the whole of the CIS, at least from what we've seen. Like Boomage was such a hot property, obviously Blade in the past as well. Like there's really not been too many people that you can go, okay, this person has been a great in-game leader. Like, look at Gambit for years. There was absolutely no one within that roster. I suppose Angel also fits in, and obviously Zeus, but a lot of these players are getting towards the end of their tenure and even retired already. So I think like forcing teams into these more execution-heavy style, late mid-round calls can work for them. And now we are just going to see a brute force push. Exactly what I mean. Like, it's just aggression coming out from this T side. Luckily, it was just a one-man defense, and Dima wasn't able to delay at all. The CT side, no choice but to save.
This is the smart call as well, though, because they know that their CT side right now is kind of hanging on a bit of a knife's edge. They drop this round and they lose every player. Not only will we see 5-1, but we're likely to see 6-1 as well, and things really start to develop towards an uncontrollable point here, to be honest, for Espada. So saving here means that they go into round 7 with much more to play for. They can keep this game a little bit more balanced. They do not want to let a team like Hard Legion start to run away on T-side Inferno. especially with the aggressive style, Tom, that you've been talking about, because that implies confidence. And confidence, well, it brings on momentum. We saw that yesterday. This could very quickly fall out of favor for Espada if they don't get on this one soon.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's already starting to get out of control. Like the way the Hard Legion are able to win their rounds, it's not really anything strategic at all. It's just like sort of baiting out a lot of utility, waiting until later in the round, and then just blasting straight into a site. Either that, or it's just individuals taking peaks on different points of the map and just basically winning their duels, which I almost feel like sometimes when I watch like CIS Counter-Strike, you do see basically the AK making a big difference, just because that instant headshot capability is enough to actually take things over the line. So we'll have to wait and see if there is going to be a counter here. Utility usage is normally the way to go. They do still have a buy in this round. Obviously, the loss bonus built up quite far at this point. But again, peeks down Banana. Kinky going to get himself the opening pick. But Demon's there to trade. But it means he's left there all on his own again. And you could see the T-side start to back their way out of the apartments. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and put pressure on this man once again. Because either way, they'll either find a couple of players their maximum, or it would just be the solo man once again. But they've actually baited a rotation and decided to head their way in towards short. 2 players here. Patsy's had a pretty good game so far, but they're going to have to clear him from the pit. And the Molotov, not going to do anything.
Yeah, starting to make him a little bit nervous here as Finnegan puts in the work on site. That's 1, make it to 2. Dexter, a cheeky 3rd, as well as Dima finds Rage. Espada making that one look easy as pie. Perhaps the weakness here is just that B site.
Yeah, it's possible. The thing is, I'm not so sure. Like, I think that this round was more just, again, like being forced into that execution base, like having to clear some of these positions. And I think just having that smoke already down, ready for the push to come in, was actually very smart from Patsy. Of course, there's plenty of ways to counter that. I think we saw Tyloo not too long ago, and plenty of other teams have done this, actually just triple nade into pit. And if things like that are going to be happening, where they're just running into Banana without much utility. If you notice, the flash, I think, was actually a bit late and catches Dexter before he goes to peak. That's now a couple of times that we've seen Espada lose a player on Banana, and there was never really any chance for a trade. Like, that was just either Dexter gets the kill or he's dead. Like, there's no way that we can keep this even. So very high-risk plays being thrown in by Espada, and I'm not a fan. Like, I'm sure they have faith in the youngster. Clearly, statistically, he's been doing very well recently, but that's just not worth it.
Well, look, you got to look at the casino model. What happens pretty much 99% of the time that you walk in and put it all on black? You probably lose. That seems to be the case here. Every single time they get aggressive B, it doesn't really work out for them. But what seems to work is their A-hold. It has to be said, another piece of success for them there. 3 quick frags very early on, just due to Patsy and co doing the work.
Oh, the remaining 2 players of Rage and Sviat are going to make their way back to the B site. Both tagged, so I would think that Demas should have this one. As said, experienced player. I think that's why he's holding the B site anchor, because I don't feel like the B site is one of those positions where you can just out-frag your opponent. A lot of the time, it comes down to the more intelligent players that manage to just hold on. I think being an anchor on any site is pretty much down to just, are you the smart player? I think watching someone like Nexa, if you are like maybe just looking to try and improve your game style, or a lot of the time you find yourself on maybe B-site train or something like that, Nexa is the player to watch. Like, not only is he so good at positioning himself well, but just the way he's able to move to keep himself alive for a long time is very impressive. And in this case, I like the fact that it is Dima that a lot of the time is left alone, because I'm sure the youngsters maybe individually might be able to beat him out, but when it comes to, as said, just staying alive, making sure that he uses his utility well, I would bank on him the majority of the time.
Looks like we see a very quick pause, so either a super swift tactical, likely a quick technical. Let's give a few seconds extra for Espada to think about how they get ahead into this one. Of course, they're starting to build up their money again here. 67.50 on Finnegan going into this one. Espada really starting to get that confidence back, especially with Hard Legion. Having nothing worth playing for here. It is just going to be pistols. At least they have B250s and Deagles. It's a slight upgrade, but this should be a very easy one for Espada to close, and that makes this game just that little bit closer.
It seems like they've started to get into the rhythm a little bit. Sviat going for an early pick, but not able to connect anything, so the AWP is just going to be dropped back over to Rage. While with the CT side set up, actually quite passive, but they start to aggress. This is, again, a bit of a risky play, especially at this point. They should know that there is an AWP, but a 1-for-1 trade, not the end of the world. Now with the AWP drop to the floor and the remaining 2 players very low indeed. And this shouldn't be even a single kill further for the T side.
I wonder if Forrester can find anything here. Of course, just looking to keep the AWP alive, that would be ideal. He's going to have a man hot on his tails, though. Dima dangerously close to finding it, but it's going to be almost a matter of timing. Oh, catches him at the right moment. Easy headshot for him, and unfortunately denying the Hard Legion side from bringing an AWP into round 10. They should be able to buy here. I think it's Fiat, not in the greatest of spots, but you have got 4 other players. We should be seeing something, but utility definitely going to be not great. I mean, they have a couple of players to really help them out, but also going to see Crad and Kinky really missing out on anything. They've got obviously that 1 smoke and 1 flash, but apart from that, not sitting too pretty.
Looking like it's going to be another challenge for Banana from both sides. The AWPer does have the
know there's
flashes
an tree?
available. He hasn't checked over onto the logs, and it just... A lot of the time, I feel like there's just mistakes being made at the moment by Espada, which end up with Dexter actually dying. Like, it's the same push each time. I like this boost, a little bit less risky, and also gives an opportunity to find the shot. But yeah, I don't really know why you wouldn't, at that point, when he already has the angle held, have the cover, have the support, and incendiary in towards the logs, again, is quite common because it's one of those positions that you can just sit in and catch out the AWP. So again, it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, which normally benefits the T side, and they are going to get banana control once again. That isn't something that Espada have really been able to take away from them. And once more, we see a same scenario. It is going to be mainly down to Dima. The rotation has come in time from Sotvik, and he may actually be able to get the angle with the AWP. Did they actually smoke him off? I think they did. So Dima just going to be looking to survive, and he's going to go down. So this time, not able to delay enough. A shot through the smoke, but ultimately doesn't matter.
The shame, he managed to leg Crad through the smoke there. I'm not sure if it was a leg or just through that back column. Would have been nice if it connected, but not going to be. You look back earlier on into that round, though, we talk about kind of that logs Molotov. Kinky has to be kicking himself about how he's died there, because he's holding a smoke in his hand, decides, you know what, screw it, I'm not going to smoke, I'll just jump over the flames, and then dies. Certainly not the greatest of situations, but they still win the round anyway, so it's a minor thing. What is an overall success for our T side? Keeping the lead, keeping things in a relatively good spot for them, as they will get their 6th, of course.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a few things that need to change on the B side for Espada. It comes down to Dima a little bit too much in some of these situations. I'm quite surprised we didn't see Sotvik actually go for a peek there with the AWP. Considering he had the angle and saw the smokes falling in, I thought he might go for a cheeky one. Or maybe he did. We didn't actually watch it from his perspective. The T's already 6 rounds on the board. We'll see if Espada are going to be able to pull off such a T side. The thing is, with Dexter currently not playing particularly well, I do wonder if he still AWPs on the T side, because Inferno is one of those maps where it's definitely not a necessity to pull in the AWP. You see the T side fairly happy not to have one, and that duel, you have to feel like Finnegan needed to win that one. Things not starting off too well, but the trades that have come back in the meantime over onto apartments. And actually, they're now pincering in on the remaining T players who currently sit in the library. Only one man left, a little bit further away. Sviat has himself the bomb. Still actually going towards the A site, which I find quite surprising considering they know that there's at least 2 or 3 players around this angle. Maybe expecting them to rotate, but nobody making a move. Dexter this time not being shut down early on, actually able to put up some numbers. So I think that banana peak needs to be something removed from their play, at least for now.
Oh, almost certainly. I mean, his A play there is supreme. He plays it to a T, and he does everything that his teammates couldn't do. We saw the fail peak from Finnegan. Dexter immediately secures that frag for him. So, want to see more of that and less of the banana shenanigans, as that's not working out for him. And it seems like he's kind of made a permanent switch here, actually, heading over towards A now. I imagine we'll be playing towards that mid area, or even perhaps getting a tad aggressive towards apps. That's what we actually see. He's peeking down apps all the way. I like to see those. So it's different. It's not them just getting caught off guard B again. They're using Dima and Co now to get aggressive. Sothic joining him on towards the site. Much better play, but either way, we see the mid play come through. Finnegan gonna line up for a cheeky double. This is where Dexter repeaks, finds one. Could be good for a second, but unfortunately doesn't quite connect. But Patsy trades it down, leaving Forrester to do it all.
Yeah, he is the man to watch at the moment, though, it seems, on this Hard Legion side. If anybody was going to be able to pull this back, I would reckon it would be him. He's going to get a 1v1 duel on the site if he's quick enough. I'm surprised his teammates not actually making too much of a move, and Sotfic being burnt down to 44 HP. However, I like that. That's an attempt to bait him in using the pistol. It actually works, but unfortunately he was too low on HP to actually win the duel. But I like the attempt. This from Finnegan was really nice, though. It's very difficult, and excuse the pun, to keep your cool while sat in the flames. Like, a lot of players, including myself, would panic, try and jump out, but Finnegan knows in that situation, much better to just go for the kills. Even if it's a 1-for-1 trade, it's better than trying to jump out of that corner, because chances are you would go 0-1.
Once more, just pistols in play now for the Hard Legion side. They're going to be using some nades. Top banana, which backfires slightly. A bit of team damage dished out, but also a rifle given up. So, all things considered, a pretty good situation. But thankfully, looks like Dima will start to shut this one down. Just doing all the work himself yet again. Just Rage and Forrester now. He talked about Forrester's ability to open up these rounds. Here he is again, a pick towards B. Makes this one seem a little bit more doable, but unfortunately it's just him to throw the CT smoke. He opts for the slightly more brutal peak. Doesn't really work out.
So
what round we expected about?
I was talking about how Dima actually is the man sort of to hold down this site. The way he plays it is insane. He's taking the riskiest peaks. And I really don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable seeing him do that. Obviously, I think he knows in that situation it's against pistols, but he's standing in the middle of the top of banana, just battling versus multiple players. If they all peeked him at the same time, he's dead, and they could have had a road on towards the site. So I'm definitely not a fan of how aggressive he's being. He's managing to pull it off, which I guess is testament to how good he is individually. But there's definitely safer ways to try and play that, especially when you have such an advantage early on because of Sotfic fighting in the banana. Either way, banana control not going to be battled for at all. It seems to be a change from Espada just to be more passive, not fight on that front at least. And I can agree with that. It hasn't really been going too well, so just sit back and relax. Using their incendiaries very early on, which, if it comes down to a late execute, could cause them some problems, because the way it normally works is, okay, sure, you throw the smoke down, but obviously, for anybody who doesn't know, a smoke is not a brick wall, and then you put the incendiary behind it. Now, there isn't one here, so the Ts are just going to be able to make their push on towards the site. There's nothing the CT site can actually do. They're going to go for the boost. Stop and Sviat. That is wonderful. 2 kills coming in. The third of Dima will be down within a second, and once again, it's this B site to fall completely under the control of Hard Legion. Now, the CTs, I don't know why you wouldn't go for this. You have a fair amount of money in the bank. You'll get some loss bonus as well with everybody being over 5,000. Dexter has plenty of money to buy into the next round. So with only 2 rounds left, I guess the only reason is to not give them an AWP or to just make sure you have everything. But I would have quite liked to see them give this an attempt because, well, even if there's a slim chance, at least it's not just money that's going to be sat wasted over in the next round.
I think it just goes to show the confidence towards B from Espada is also not really looking too good, to be honest, which is I'm not too shocked about. Let's be fair. Their A-site hold has always been pretty damn solid. We see Patsy get 2 kills to close it out, but it just doesn't seem to work towards B. This was beautiful from Sphere. Just read them like a book. The minute they got up on Flower Pot, not only did they secure the first kill, but they get the player who's boosting as well. You pretty much secure the round just off the back of that one play.
Wow. An equalized scoreline. Definitely a better T half, really, for Hard Legion. It's been a good comeback, at least, from Espada, from what was a pretty poor early start, but you'd still hope for more on your CT side, and the bare minimum is going to be that they at least hold on to this. Nice work from Crad. Actually just spamming through the wall forces Dexter back into a more awkward position. Of course, this pixel angle, it's a possibility. They're looking to put the pressure on him once again. Of course, we know that the B site has been more of a safe haven for this T side, and while giving up banana control, not challenging for it, has meant that Sotvik's been able to get all the way in towards the spawn. So we'll see if this actually comes back to bite them, though, because he's wrapping all the way around. They haven't spotted him by the looks of it.
It seems like they're watching for him, though. If you look at the bomb carrier Rage, he's holding behind second mid here, so they clearly know someone's there. They just don't know where. Almost feels like this is going to be a matter of timing, Tom. If Sotfik plays this right, he might just be behind them right at the moment those smokes are thrown. Looks like they will come through. The push begins to take some shape. Forrester leads the charge as Dexter secures the trade kill. One player gets through, though, into CT. And that opens up the B site, but Forrester's doubling back now.
No. Forrester needing the ace if he is going to be able to pull off this clutch. He's got no time. That's the real issue, but he hits the headshot. He's going to be able to get onto the site, and the last man, Sotfik, is very far away. 4 kills to his name already. Sotfik wrapping round, running all the way. Oh, it seems like Forrester actually has this right, but Sotfik watching the right angle, and unfortunately for Forrester, it's not quite going to be enough. He's been very good in these clutch situations, but unfortunately never quite being able to take it over the line. Espada are just about going to win out the half, but definitely not a comfortable looking CT side.
I mean, Forrester nearly won a 1v1 versus 5 there. That really, I think, sums up the half and a whole. Very shaky stuff. That B site, a huge weakness for the CT side. You can see they're also only able to really string 3 rounds together. That said,
yeah, it's the T's like getting the early rounds definitely helped them. Like from then on, it wasn't particularly well played. Like they definitely struggled, and I think it was the B side that they needed to focus on more. At the same time, I was a little bit disappointed how it really had to be some good individual skill for Espada to actually win a lot of the rounds. Like I don't feel like there were any like big shutdown rounds other than their first win that came in round number 4. That was clean as you like, but a lot of the time I don't feel like they particularly use their utility too well on Banana, and their attempted peaks with the AWP were normally just one flashbang and then somebody trying to take like an aggressive hold. So I haven't been overly impressed with either side just yet, but hopefully Hard Legion are going to be able to show them how it's done going onto the CT side. They've gone straight with the Kevlar, so if the bomb does go down, they're going to be in a bit of trouble. And they don't have any utility as well, which is quite common on this map. Like normally you might see an HE, maybe a smoke to try and delay the time. You can see actually quite a lot of utility purchase up for Espada, Sotfik, and Finnegan going to be investing into the grenades. And with how many they have, I'm wondering if this is going to be a full execution on towards the B side, just with the Molotov to try and clear out some of the back positions on the site. You've obviously got the 2 smokes, one to go into coffins, one to be thrown over to the other side, but it looks like they're actually heading in through the apartments. It might just be an attempted fake because the bomb's going in the other direction, so it might just be trying to bait them in. Unfortunately, it seems like the bomb's already been spotted, so this fake idea is not going to work.
Demon now, an opportunity to win a duel towards B here that could really make or break this round as that opens up the B site. Fortunately, he's struggling. Crad finishes him off, and that should seal the deal now. Espada going to go full send up on towards A. It's all going to be coming through short and apps. Can they get past the gatekeeper, Forrester? Well, there's your answer. 2 very quick headshots come through. The bomb will go down. And we're back in the 2v3. Hard Legion not quite getting this one as clear cut as they thought. Now they're going to have to come in through this long and short split. Crad and Kinky, the 2 players that have to try and get this one done. Crad gets aggressive, but struggles to find something. Gets the kill towards Pit, but not much time left. They're going to have to go fast. All headshots. Somehow they make that stick.
I'm actually trying to work out, like, who kind of played that worse. Like, there was both teams in positions where they could have easily, like, it seemed like they could close out the round. Like, the battle on Banana was really messy. Then you had the whole idea from Espada quickly went out the window. They had, like, okay, we got fake smokes. And I like the aggression into apartments from Hard Legion. It gave them a lot of information. But then you just have basically this after plant position. The T's have the bomb down, and they don't really do any damage at all. The CT side didn't have a kit, so if they just burnt down the clock a bit more, they probably would have had it. And instead, they face into individual duels and lose every single one. So, yeah, another situation where I feel like Espada are in the driver's seat, even though things didn't go to plan. And then they just let the round slip away. And now, well, they've come back in with an investment. This really shows the state that Counter-Strike is in at the moment, where you can lose a round and come up with 2 AKs, 2 Galils, and the one player that's sort of sacrificed has a deagle and a couple of flashbangs. And on the other side of things, there's actually less rifles. Not that that really means too much. We'll see whether or not they're going to be able to get anything done. Nice work from Crad to kick things off. And interestingly, even though they've invested a lot into utility, the CT side haven't invested into a kit.
Bomb will go down, so gives them a chance here. Yeah, very quick trade as Rage comes diming on in as well. Forrester one of his own. These SMGs just chew them up. A quick plant, but that will be all. Hard Legion up to 9 now, taking the lead in this game.
Well, yeah, all they've really done in that round is given Hard Legion a free upgrade, so that is not the start to this map that they were looking for, or start to this half at least, as we now see 4 rifles instead of the 3 SMGs, and then Rage can just purchase up whatever he likes. The T's left in a bit of an awkward situation. I imagine this is just going to be a few pistols. I wouldn't mind seeing some sort of apps burst. It's definitely the best place to try and get up close to some of the players. It's fairly simplistic. A singular smoke can just be dropped just out onto the balcony, and then a couple of flashbangs can be popped out onto the top. So I would like to see that play, just because it's one of the only ways you're going to be able to get close enough. I definitely don't want to be seeing them facing in mid. I suppose they do have a couple of deegs, so I guess the goal is to just go for a 1-tap or 2. But ultimately, the CTs in this scenario shouldn't be playing too aggressive. They don't have any SMGs anymore. I think they should know what they're coming up against. So this is where, in all honesty, I don't even want to see them in the apartments. I want to see them right back on the sites, holding back from Arch, maybe even holding back from the library, and just using the range to their advantage, because getting up close is the only way the pistols are going to win this round.
This is just a classic mousetrap scenario. Espada, they have the cheese, the bomb site is what they're looking for, and they've just got to walk into Hard Legion, who are ready to snap back at them. This should be easy pickings for the CT side. There should be no question about this round at all. They will use the utility to slow them down and push them back, which just kind of makes this round that little bit easier for the CT side as well. Espada very bunched up through Banana. I imagine they're just going to burst A at this point, which will, of course, put the pressure on Sviat and Crad.
Yeah, the B site. Inevitable at this point. They do not have time to make a move.
That's a big kill. They have no molly as well to slow them down.
Well, Sviat, it seems like he doesn't really care too much. Wiping everybody down. Even still, there is going to be a second kill coming in. Not a bad round all in all. It would be nice if they can get a bomb plant. Dexter's actually got a third. This is starting to get a little bit ridiculous. I don't think they'll enable him to get the bomb plant, which would have been the real bonus there. But yeah, with considered how little they invested into that round, it comes very close. And if Sviat isn't a hero here, getting 3 kills, you almost wonder if this might have gone back the other way.
What that's done as well is forced Hard Legion to spend up all of the money that they otherwise gained from picking up those rifles in that second round. So this has worked out really nicely for Espada, to be honest. Now they go into their full buy, beat out Hard Legion here, and you're likely looking at not only 9-10, but a real opportunity to equalize.
Well, already bit of damage done. Maneuvering up
good.
Banana, and that is a horrific start to the round. This is going to leave Kinky in a bit of a difficult spot. He has managed to get the pick, but they've smoked him off, so it is just going to have to be the all-in gamble. Look at this from the CT side. They have thrown their full defense in towards this B site, and in the meantime, Espada are just patiently waiting. The decision to go in this direction is yet to be made. I think they're waiting to see if there's any rotations coming through mid. It now just comes down to what direction they decide to go in. I would actually like to see Hard Legion in this situation just all in. Just go, okay, we're playing B. I like the fact that they're still watching for any sort of flank. I don't want to see any rotations, though, in reality, unless they find a pick back. Because if the full T side force go barraging into the A site, I just don't see there being a way that they win this round. However, if they go into B, which actually seems like they're cool, Hard Legion should have this.
It's 50-50. A coin flip for Espada. Looks like they will be coming into some competition after all. As you say, all 3 CT players ready to go. The smoke flash comes through. Hard Legion have guessed correctly, but now can they hold on? 18 seconds to work with. That's all they've got as the peak comes through. Kinky good for 1, Rage a second. The trades start to come into play for Espada, but it's only 1 kill. Not good enough. Kinky backside. Right now, he's doing all he needs to do, just dancing between these boxes, grabs the bomb, just makes it look easy.
I don't know who's calling for Hard Legion, but whoever that was spot on. Like, it was one of those rounds where if you basically split up and look for clues, chances are you're not going to be able to take that one home. Instead, they just throw everything into the B site. Watch still for the flanks and try and set themselves up. But ultimately, just a great hold from them. And yeah, maybe not enough probing coming in from the other side. I feel like Espada did a lot of the hard work in the early portions of the round. And they probably would have been better off if they did just go barreling into the site. But unfortunately, I would say that the play they made of slowing down was the right one. The issue is they then go pushing into the site not knowing any information, and leaving a lurker in this spot could have actually worked out quite nicely for them. Of course, I think this is more a situation where you have to give credit to the players of Hard Legion rather than say too much about what happened to Espada, because it's very difficult to predict that a team would be playing 3-0.
It is just a coin flip. That's the thing. So, unfortunately, this time around, they guessed correctly on the CT side. That puts them in a good position here now to charge forward. But Dexter showing off some of that aggressive T-side AWPing prowess. Unfortunately, his teammate Patty a bit oblivious to the fact that Kinky can be towards long.
Yeah, very quick trade. Maybe just trying to capitalize off, like, maybe players starting rotations. Are they doing this again?
They're completely given up the B side now.
This is really weird. Like, to play a 4-0 is madness, and I think they've realized, okay, it's a little bit early in the round to be going for such a gamble, especially when Espada seemed to show quite heavy dedication to this B side. I think they've already lost this round. This has to be a big play coming out from Sviat, and a nice attempt. He gets a kill and even dinks up the second. It gives his team a decent chance in a retake if they actually want to go for it. But this is going to come down again just to these individual duels. They have a lot of utility, but if Dexter hits the shot, I almost feel like this should become a trade, but the timing has worked out nicely. If Kinky goes now, he actually has some space up Banana. His teammates Still getting in position, however, so maybe a little bit hesitant.
That's the thing, he needs to go, but unfortunately timing not really working out for him. Dexter, though, completely focused. Hasn't done the 180 we expected. That means Kinky gets that pick. Forrester finds Finnegan as well. Dima, last man standing. He's up and above. Easy pickings. That is close.
Yeah, really nice retake in the end, considering that could have easily been, what, 3v3, 4v4 retake. They end up making it look very easy just with the timings that they get. Hard Legion, at least so far today, have definitely looked like the better team, even though Espada, in terms of individual firepower, we've seen some magic from them so far. Now, they are going to take a pause. Understandable. After struggling for the majority of this half to get anything done. And they are going to have themselves a purchase into the next round, although the AWP is not going to be an option this time. And considering that Dexter did quite well to actually open things up, it's a bit of a shame. You can see how close a lot of these rounds have been, though, considering the CT side economy really isn't anything great at all. You've got Crowd on 3,300 and everybody else 1750 and below. That means if they do lose this round, Hard Legion are going to be in some financial turmoil. However, they've got to actually lose a round for that to happen. And Espada, in a lot of these rounds, they've had advantageous positions. They've been getting the bomb down. They've had afterplants. They haven't done anything with it. And the CT side clearly getting more and more confident as Forrester rushing into the apps. Maybe should have just taken the one and left. Instead, he's given an even scenario for the T side, which, if anything, should favor them.
Espada going to take this one very carefully into second mid. Just taking apps control as well, which I like. Much more slow, sort of calculated play from them now on their T side. Fortunately, no one they can really find. No picks they can really secure early on here. Sviat does get aggressive in mid and does a lot of damage, but not quite a frag. They do get the frag towards pit, though, as they get very aggressive out towards this A site. And they've actually got the site completely for free because Sviat and co were fully focused on what they could do towards mid and long.
Yeah, this is another spot that it definitely looks like a potential save for the CT side, but still, at least some of the players still seem to be challenging. Like, one man already looks to be saving out towards Arch. They seem a little bit confused as to what's going to be happening. Maybe just holding for some exit kills. It will at least be one coming in for Crad, which is at least doing some extra damage. If they keep these three players up, they actually do have a bye going into the next round. So it's actually fairly important. Rage looking to hold them into the site. It's a shame he doesn't have a grenade, although in this scenario with the bomb being planted so deep, it wouldn't actually have made a difference at all. So Espada, they get their 9th. Unfortunately, it's not going to be the economy break, as I mentioned, just because they do manage to save those extra weapons. So they will be able to juggle a couple over, Crad and Rage, both having enough cash to do so. And so Espada, the pressure's still on if they are going to be remaining in this map for much longer.
Interesting note on Hard Legion. Starting to see a couple of players here, also on that CT side, but we saw this in the first half as well, using the M4A1S now. That's a resurgence in form. Of course, recent changes making it a lot cheaper. Now only $2,900 to purchase.
Yeah, I think I would have preferred to see like maybe the fire rate increase slightly just to make the gun actually better rather than changing the price, or at least give people the option to choose within rounds. But yeah, I think especially with a lot of these players being so individually skilled and aim heavy, it is actually a viable gun, and a nice couple of shots being hit early on in this round by Kinky has set them up nicely. The timing of Dexter gives him the spot, but he is now left all on his own as all of his teammates have fallen, and that is as good as it gets when it comes to resurging in a round. Having one only just lost, saving your weapons, and then winning one pretty much as clean as can be.
Yeah, they make it look easy. And that has a pretty strict effect on Espada's economy here. They will have to try and pull together a buy. And to be fair, it's not horrendous. Obviously, we have 5 rifles in play, but they've definitely had to give this a good go. I That's actually just a Tech 9 on Patsy, so, well, or Galil even, but still. Not the greatest of T-rifles. Ooh, Rage nearly gets 2 for his troubles there. Hits Dexter as well.
Well, yeah, that is one hell of a start to the round. It's going to leave them low, and you can see the CT side already have 3 players bolstered up in the defense of this site. Crad maybe a little bit early to throw down that incendiary. And actually the one bounced over the top. Yeah, it didn't work. It was an attempt to try and retake Banana by the looks of it, but the incendiary didn't land. I think it needed to be thrown a little bit harder to bounce it properly off the top. The T's are now going to make this a move back after spotting multiple players, lots of grenades being thrown towards them. They can gamble that there's not going to be such a defense on the other side of the map. However, they do have to try and get past the AWP of Rage, who is just going to be sat on the other side of the smoke. 50 seconds left on the clock. So plenty of time, but edging out through the smoke is going to make things all too easy for Rage. And now it's left all onto Finnegan and Dexter to try and turn this around. A 2v2 on the site. It's also not the man I'd want to be walking into. Forrester's been playing very well indeed. Only getting 1, but with Dexter only on 16 HP, this would have to be more of a miracle than anything else. And I think they've heard him trying to jump up. 14-9, money now starting to become a real issue for Espada as well. And, well, that was just like the stars aligning. That was beautiful.
Dexter's not jumping there. That's a double kill. That's the funny part about that. That said, haven't really seen much from Dexter in the second half, have we? I think he did show up when he had the AWP, when he was going for that kind of T-side aggressive AWP style. It was 1 or 2 good kills from him, but generally speaking, Espada haven't had the money to kind of be able to put that gun in his hands. Just pistols here as well. This is looking pretty bleak. Of course, Espada fully focused on the outcome of round 25. In this one, they do have Kevlar, so it's not completely unwinnable, but let's be frank, they've already dropped 1 player. Banana looking pretty dire as well. Crad getting for the 2-1. Make it 3-1 as Fiat just finishes off Finnegan with a frag grenade. This one's done. Espada, 1 round, and they're out of this game.
Yeah, Patsy, I'm not really sure where he can even really attempt here. Some damage, I guess, would be nice. A bomb plant would be even better, just to make sure they have the full buy going in. He has retrieved a rifle at least. Wow, this almost seems mean from Forrester. Didn't even hit the spray initially, but still manages to get the kill. 15-9. Crad never should be able to get away with that much damage, but, you know, that seems to be just the little spanner in the works, the overall aggression that just caught them off guard. Now we come in with what could be the final buy. They at least have to counter up onto Dexter, and considering that we have seen some aggressive peaks coming out from Rage, there is a possibility to get that opening kill. At the same time, I feel like Dexter's not quite had the performance I was expecting. And look at Kinky go. It's going to be a pot flash. They're pushing Banana and Mid at the same time. Only actually going to be 1. Dima does a good job of holding on to these positions. And Dexter finding the aggression onto Rage. As said, that counter up is now going to be mostly left onto Forrester. And this is onto timing. He gets the first. He's going to be able to make his way back around the corner. An important frag to at least give them a chance here. But look at the wraparound arch. This is going to be a tough one to hold for Sviat as he's slowly going to get surrounded.
If he gets aggressive here, though, that might actually work out well for him. It looks like he's thinking about it, just peeking into the smoke. Gets very close here. This could protect him, because obviously that wraparound towards B becomes less effective if he can just force the Jules Banana and get the bomb. Obviously 2 players here. Going to be tough. Dexter waits for the push, loses the first Jules. Fiat gets the second as well. And he's done it, Tom. He's grabbed the bomb, left it bottom mid. He's got support from his teammate, likely coming in from A, down mid as well. Finnegan's flank is completely redundant. He now has to retake from Banana, get the bomb, and get back up as well.
Yeah, I basically think he has to get the kills. That's it. I think he needs to try and get the kills here, because they've got him in a bit of a dirty crossfire. Forrester even just going to be peeking in. He doesn't get the frag in the end. 16-9. Hard Legion actually quite dominant. A very strong CT side from them. good individually, and while in all honesty, I think they were the just better side overall. Of course, we do have another map and potentially two to see whether or not they are going to be able to close this out. We'll be back after a short break.
Going through the smoke walks. He's gonna go down. Walks in with the AW unit.
Position, Earthshaker's moving in as well. Echo Slam connects on it too. Back row tire down as well.
Red always wins the brawl. Or can we cast the curse in? Oh, there we go.
LOOT.BET.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.